Hey guys, it's Allen Kotlyar here with another interview for Conversion Icons. So excited to have Carla Boscq with us today to be able to talk about one thing that I'm very interested in, which is mystery shopping, right? Most of you guys probably have thought, this is a very elusive career, right? People that go around trying to find out mistakes that other people are doing. But I'm excited to bring her on the show today to actually talk about what it really is. And that's somebody on your side taking a look at your business operations, your customer service, and figuring out what you can do to be better at it and what your employees are doing when you aren't in the room. So welcome to the show. Let's take it away.
Hey, hi. How are you?
I'm
It's
doing wonderful. Thanks for joining us. You're actually staying up really late for this interview. You're calling all the way from where?
so I'm based in Jersey, which is a little island between France and England. So it's 6 p.m. So it's not so bad, but it's a quite a big different time difference with you. But it's lovely to be here, and I love talking about mystery shopping. And today, Alan, you will see I have no wig, no mustache, no glasses, no hats, no nothing.
Well,
Usually you never know when I come round whether I'm mystery shopping or not.
that's right. And there is that, sort of nostalgia of a mystery shopper. You never know who they are, what they're going to be dressed in, what age, race they're going to be. And I know when I used to actually sell solar door to door and also in retail environments such as Costco, we used to get mystery shopped all the time.
Love
And
it.
we were always afraid of it because those were the people that our job sort of depended on, because corporate would come back and say, hey, you answered this question wrong. Or, if you got too many mystery shoppers that didn't like you, guess what? You were gone, even no matter your performance.
Oh my
So
gosh.
what
That's
what is the importance of a mystery shopper? And can you give us a little bit of history? Where did it come from?
yeah, really, that's a really scary thing to hear you saying that because that mystery shopping is probably been now around for probably about 35, 40 years as a measurement. And I guess when I started doing the business, that was probably about 11 years ago now. And very much at the time, all I wanted was to actually, this is a program that we need to be very open, very transparent, with our employees. And what you're saying is really scary because that's what the old-fashioned way to use mystery shopping, which really isn't great for the employees nor the business really, because they're using it as a bashing on the head instead of using it as a real tool to improve the service, to look at gaps, and be able to look, add more training or change something because it doesn't look quite right. So it's a very, very important tool in the customer experience if it's done properly and if it's rolled out properly. So it's the idea of mystery shopping, like you said, it's having somebody anonymously coming into your shop, your call center, but it could be on your website. And now, with the pandemic, it's obviously, open up all different news, ways of mystery shopping. So it could be online, it could be on a virtual event, it could be on a chat box that you're being mystery shopped. So really depending on what the business is doing, it's really giving feedback on certain areas. So it could be the general approach, it could be the service side, it could be the sales area. So you want to really kind of create a questionnaire right at the beginning, which are going to ask the right questions so you can gain some information and improve the service delivery overall.
I think the most important part to think about is, what do you want your customers to experience consistently,
Yes.
right? The reason we all go to McDonald's or any type of our favorite restaurant is because we want that dish done the right way every time. Now, for that to happen, you need systems and procedures and proper hiring and training.
Yes.
So when you think about mystery shoppers, oftentimes, we were afraid. But honestly, the reason we were afraid because we were winging it, right? When,
But
you know,
because you've not been
like,
given
and
the right tools, and this is it. You've not been given the right training. You've not been given the right information. I even tell my customers, give the questionnaires to your staff.
yeah,
And they're like, really? No, well, yes, we're not trying to trick them. We want them to do what's right. And so it's very important that the actual questionnaire is aligned with the customer journey. It talked
absolutely.
about all the touch points. So touch points is when your customers comes to you. So perhaps on the phone, on an email, when he walks through the door, when he leaves, what are those touch points that your customers are touching within your organization? And how does that align? So if you're saying they've got to pick up the phone within 3 rings, well, the mystery shop must pick up the phone within 3 weeks. And this is how the beauty of it. It really kind of bring the journey, the training, everything together into one and help you manage it because you can then measure it.
Absolutely. And that's what's so important for the people listening to realize is it is up to you as the business owner to set the tone and to
Mm,
make sure that you do consistent training. Just
mm,
because you cover with your employees one time how to do it properly doesn't mean it's going to automatically be done that way. I've learned countless times with my consulting clients when we go over their sales calls, the owner of the business says, they should have never said that, or that's not the right answer to that response. Well, you got to realize you're just one wrong answer away from a lawsuit, right? And if you are in a very highly regulatory field and you got
mm,
people answering the phone incorrectly, and you got individuals that don't say that the line is recorded, or you have them give information,
mm,
right? Of course they're going to say, well, I didn't know, or I wasn't trained enough. But guess who's it going to fall on? It's going to fall on you. So that's why it's so important to have somebody like yourself part
mm,
of your quality control department. And I
mm,
really think that mystery shopping and quality control are sort of hand in hand,
mm,
in the same department. Oftentimes people do not give enough consideration to actually looking through the call records, testing their employees, and really applying corrective training.
mm.
Just saying the difference between hello and hello, there's a difference. And somebody like you can pick up on that. So tell me, how do you work with customers and clients to make sure that they get the most out of their employees and their staff?
Sure. So I think, it comes back to what you've just said. The assessment is really important, but when you actually realize putting a questionnaire together or program together, and you say, well, okay, so what is your customer journey? Or have you got some standards? And you're just like, what's a customer journey? What are the touch points? Oh, we really haven't quite done this work. Okay, so standard, well, we've got some SOPs here and there. Okay. And what about your employees? What is your employee experience? How do you recruit them? How do you train them? What are your values? What is the business? How does it all bring together? And suddenly you realize that all the back end of a business, core business structure isn't quite in place how it should be. So really, when I look with a client, an overall program, I would look at the culture first. That messaging, that breathing, the values, the real kind of the vision, this is here what we're here for. And then I'll look at the environment because, Alan, the environment will affect people. And it's something that I'm very passionate about. I'm a feng shui practitioner. So I really feel, it's really important for employees and customers to feel good. You want to feel good where you work. You want, people are working 10, 12 hours a day in a place. If it's dark, if it's messy, if it's cluttered, if there's no light, you're not going to perform. That's really kind of natural, subconscious way the environment affect people. Then we'll look at the people. the employees. And then actually, once you've got those three components really ticked out, the customer experience should be amazing because everything is already in place. So then once the customer experience is here, you can just, put a few strategies to really implement new things, perhaps maybe on complaint handling or perhaps on, how to deal with a certain situation. But it works, as I call it the woggle dance. It's like, I love bees. So it's like a consistent virtual circle of doing something. You're assessing first, then you're developing some strategies, then you are training or implementing, and then the last one you're measuring, and then you start again. So
Mm.
those are the four things that every businesses should be doing: assessing, developing, training, and measuring.
Okay, so let's start at the first one, assessing. Okay.
Mm.
So when the employee has one idea of what their job and responsibility is supposed to be, and the employer has a different one, how do we get them on the same page?
Well, this is it. How many times when you were working were you asked questions, where you ask your opinion, where you ask how you're feeling? With this pandemic, businesses need to really kind of get closer to their employees more than ever. How are you feeling? Those emotions, whether it's the employees or the customers, are going to be driving the sales or the performances. So we need to ensure that we have good emotions, we can keep our employees motivated. So assessing is crucial to understand. Ask the right questions, ask how they are, ask how the business could be improved. Those kind of questions are really important to get them to be part of it,
Absolutely.
part of the business. They feel they belong to it.
Yeah. And I think also a huge part of assessing is assess what is the baseline. How
Mm.
many sales has your reps actually done when hired, to 2 months to 3 months to 5 months, right? Because oftentimes in a lot of sales positions, the boss has an idea of how many sales each person should be making, but that's not actually based off of statistical data. It's not based off of the average of the employees. It's
Mm.
not including what is the bottom to the top. They
Mm.
say, I had a rep several years ago and they did X amount of sales per day. Well, environments have changed, systems has changed, offers have changed, marketing message has changed. The
Mm.
audience has been communicated several different times. So what we want to consistently do in the analyst phase is figure out what is each person's average, right? Then what we want to do is see, based off of 1 month in, where are all of the employees, 2 months and 3 months in. So oftentimes when I come in and consult with people, they say, oh, this guy's a rock star, he's doing so good. But when we look at the average, he might have a great month this month, but last month he was terrible.
Mm.
So what you want to look at, especially in this beginning phase, is how are they onboarding, right?
Mhm.
How many months does it take to get somebody to the projected numbers that you want? And so I
Mm.
think it's very critical, because when you first look at this, there are several different factors that you need to look at, not only in sales, but you're bringing up very good points as well. How well do they actually handle rejection? How well do
Mm.
they handle a bad customer, right?
Mm.
If somebody is asking them tough questions, do they let them off the phone right away?
Mm.
These are all things that you need to be tracking, because if you think about it, your cost per lead, your cost per somebody walking in the store is quite large. And most of us as business owners may not even know down to the penny what that is. And that's where the foundation of marketing actually comes. So once you have an idea of that and you have a customer come in who is asking a tough question that your rep should know, and they actually don't properly respond, you
Mm.
can realize that everything from the rest of the marketing cycle and the client journey can easily go awry there. So
Mm.
that's exactly what leads us to the next step. So what's the next step in the system after that?
Let me just tell you a quick story about that. I've just been doing some interviews on stories, the good, the bad, and the exceptionals, which is my book that I delivered. And this young lady was driving, and she picked up a phone, the call on Bluetooth. And the guy said, "Oh, I'm a double glazing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and we could do." And she's like, "Well, I'm renting. I really don't need anything. But I can do this and I can do that." And then she's like, "No, no, no, no." So 4 times she said no to the gentleman, and he kept going on. And at the end, she said, "Right, okay, I'm driving. I really can't talk to you. I'm going to have to just finish that conversation." And the agent on the other side told her to F off and put the phone down. I mean, this is quite incredible. Can you imagine having somebody not only as a customer or somebody on the phone, they ringing you and they're telling you that. And those are kind of, can you imagine his boss if he knew what he was doing? I mean, how damaging is that?
And the problem is most likely the boss will never know.
This is the
And
problem.
and the boss will only know once it is posted on Yelp or on a review site, and then
Exactly.
try to get it off. You
Yeah.
got, and a lot of these sites, even if you resolve the problem, they don't take it off.
And it
So
goes
that
bigger and bigger and bigger,
I
doesn't
mean,
it?
what's the saying that a negative review most likely will get to 11 people, right?
Oh,
So
11,000.
you know those are person, like, if you had a bad experience at a restaurant, right, even though the hostess is having a tough day, and I understand everything going on with the pandemic, but the other day I went to the restaurant and I asked the lady, like, a couple questions. She's like, "Yeah, we're only doing takeout," with a little bit of smarky attitude, and I'm like, there's 100 different restaurants down the street here.
I know. This is just giving your customers free clients. It is absolutely giving your competition, your customers, there and then, bang. Thank
Exactly.
you for giving bad
Exactly.
service.
And it's in those little things. So that's why it's so important to have somebody like you, uh, you know, be your second eyes, be
Mm.
your second ears, to give you the experience of what your customers are going through. Because, as a boss, you can obviously role play with them, you can give them more training, but what do they do really when
Mhm.
nobody's looking?
Exactly.
That's the question. And
Yeah.
it's not about spying on your employees or trying to make them bad. What you're trying to do is you're trying to create a level of consistency and stellar performance. And
And you're
that is
putting in
where
business.
and how to run a business properly.
This is
So
it. I think sometimes also, I mean, it talks for employees, but it's for leaders as well, that, you need to remember that if you have no customers, you have no business,
you know
and this is quite key to any businesses, isn't it, having customers? So, you need to do everything you can to really kind of care for them, to, show them that you really care, and to thank them. They're grateful that, they're paying your wages.
absolutely. So that was the first step in your system, analyzing, really seeing where you're at. What's the second part of your system?
So then once you've analyzed and you know where you are, you know what's going on, then you can start putting some strategies in place to have a look. Well, we're here, we want to be there. How are we going to fill that gap? Okay, well, perhaps we need to look at this area, perhaps we need to look at this area, and go deeper into the data to actually realize what is missing in your organization to actually move the needle
Mm.
from one level to the other. And so the strategic plan are really good only if you're going to put an implementation in.
Absolutely.
And and again, it's no point to spend time and money in bringing consultants and doing this and that if you're not taking any action whatsoever with it afterwards.
Absolutely. And what I've seen work so well is the buy-in of this implementation plan has to be company wide. It cannot just be from the consultant. It
That's
cannot
it.
just be from the manager,
That's
right?
it.
If and oftentimes the employees have to adopt them themselves. And what
Mhm.
I've seen work very well is putting together a improvement plan for each individual each individual employee. So
That's
that
it.
way, when you do that analyst phase, you say, okay, like when you were mystery shopped, right, you didn't answer this question properly, or
Mhm.
when we went through the process, you didn't fill out the form correctly this way. So
Mhm.
what you start to do is you start to collect a employee management folder on each one of them with
Excellent.
check marks in different areas, based off of poor, good, excellent. You get a sort of average index number for each one, and you
Mhm.
monitor that over the course of implementation of the new strategy.
Mhm.
And as we all know, you can retain things only so much, right? So that is where consistent
That's it.
repetition of the training has to be done. Because what
Yes.
you'll notice is a curve of improvement and then
Mhm.
deprovement, and it won't go down to the bottom, but it'll come up as much as this curve of consistent training on that topic. So
Mhm.
that brings up the question. So once you have this plan, how do you work with your clients and the people going through your program to make sure that the program is actually fully adopted from top to bottom?
So I think every strategy also become part of our Bible or our standard, our who we are, whatever you're going to call it, that thing that, when you've got somebody new walking into the company, this is it. Every time you've got a complaint or something hasn't worked, you change it, you add it on to this. Everything becomes part of this, which becomes alive of the business, how we do business here, how we are, in business. So once you've got this, your strategies in place, they're implemented, the training program needs to be a program throughout the year. It's not just a 3 hours customer service training, or there you go, we're going to put Claire on Claire's training online and they'll be fine for the year. It doesn't have to take long, but it's something, like you said, it's very important that you have a real yearly plan, and every month, every day, you have a quick checkup with all your team on a daily basis before you open the doors or before you start working. Do that check with them, remind them of one or two tips every day. It's a constant, and that's something, the more often you do it, the more regularly it becomes a habit. And that's what we want, is that habit word. When you start becoming a habit of doing something, you're doing it automatically. You don't have to think about, oh, did I have to press that button or did I have to do this? You're just doing it because it's part of what you're doing. So the training definitely is a big part of really making sure you keep in that consistency. And then we're doing the measurement. So then we can actually see how well the training is gone, how well the strategies are working. Have we listened when we assessed our employees? Have we listened to what we've said and put something in place? And, the measurement then tells us if we've done things right the step before.
Yeah,
And then we start again. And
never
that's why
fail.
it's a virtual circle. It really,
Absolutely.
and I think, like you said earlier, you were talking about KPIs, so key performance indicators. Use that as your benchmark. So, what's important for you? It could be things as, of course, your profits. That could be your first kind of measurement that you're going to take and look at. But it could be things like number of days, sick days, that your employees are here, or numbers of compliments. Isn't it positive things to put a keep KPIs on the number of compliments that your employees are having? It's so nice to be able to say thank you when they get a compliment. They feel so good, they feel rewarded, they will want to do it again. So let's put some positive KPIs in place and share it with everybody. That's a
Absolutely.
big part of it.
I think also in that management part, it's critical to, like you said, first analyze what you want with the KPIs, then implement the training, and then do what a lot of people are calling is a 15-minute or less scrum meeting.
Yeah,
right?
huddle,
It's a
whatever you call
it's
it.
a stand-up meeting where you check in
Yeah.
every day with them at what's going well, what's
Hmm.
not going well, and what do you need help with,
Yeah.
right? So by doing that, not only do you show that you are building higher levels of trust, you're building safety in the company because they believe that you're looking after them, but you're actually showing that you care, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes, a lot of organizations, they just care about bookings, they care about sales, they care about the bottom line, but to get there, you have
Mhm.
to start at the beginning,
Yeah.
right? That comes down to training, that comes down to mindset, the culture of the company, and what's acceptable.
Yeah.
Because if you are just a sales organization that is trying to just focus on appointments and sales, and you leave it up to leave it up to your employees to talk to your customers, however, and you don't have the higher purpose of customer service or
Mhm.
providing customers with great value, then when you listen to the calls, they will just do whatever is possible to get the sale. So that's
Mhm.
where it's very important to know, like you said, these KPIs. How long do you want them to be on the phone? What do you want them to say at the beginning portion? How do you want them to introduce themselves and the product? These are all very, very important things to analyze and measure so that way they can actually get done.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. It is a virtual cycle, that consistency, and that's the word I use, bringing more care into your business. It really is so important. If you care for your employees, they will care for your customers. If you care for the environment, people will feel well, healthy, they will want to come to work for you. There's a figure that I quote all the time, says 88% of US workers um, go to work every morning, and they don't think that the company they work for cares for them. I mean, that's
Yeah.
crazy, shocking figure. 8 out of 10 people go to work every day and they don't think no one cares about them or what they do.
Yeah. That's fascinating. I mean, because it's a lot more than providing, a holiday party
Yeah,
or, doing a Friday lunch,
yeah,
right? What employees really want to know is that you care about their performance. They really want to know that you're going to listen to their troubles and
mm,
provide solutions.
yeah,
And that's where really management comes along, right?
mm,
When you look at companies that are doing good versus ones that aren't, there's a lot of companies that just let their employees do whatever they want, right?
mm,
And in a way, that's understandable because they have other things to do in management. But really, for you to get what you want and to
yeah,
get the goals as a manager, you need to be part of the team. You need to
yeah,
be leading them and providing them with resources. And the goal of a manager is to remove the obstacles along the way of
mm,
their employees from effectively doing what they need to do. That
mm,
comes down to technology, that comes down to marketing, that comes down to training, that come down to recruiting, everything. So
mm,
once you start thinking, oh, that's not my job, right? That's Bob's job over there in accounting. They got the check wrong. Go talk to Bob. That's not how it works,
no,
right? You need to think of these people as your family, as your team, and really believe that and
mm,
instill the culture and the mission statement and actually help them live that.
mm.
Now, a lot easier said than done, obviously.
I know, but that is the only way to really kind of bring everybody together. And you see, organization with their vision and values on the wall and the coffee cups, but when they're recruiting people, they don't ask the person in front of them what are their values. So this kind of disconnect, if you're not living and breathing the brand and really what's the mission and what the values are all about, there's going to be a disconnect before your employees, even before they started. So let's look at, put that core of it, do that exercise of my values and my vision and my mission. What is it that I want to be And then you're inspiring everybody with you. And that's the beauty of it. When you're really clear about that message and everybody's part of it, they feel they belong and they come with you. They'll want you to do well and they'll want them to do well with you. And that's the powerful way to bring everybody together.
I think another important thing is to talk about the successes of the clients that the sales reps have done. Right.
Yes.
So oftentimes as an appointment setter, you don't know what happens to that client once they go to a closer and once they go from closer to, operations or marketing, what happened to that person that you talked to.
Mm,
So I often recommend people when they're doing these meetings is to highlight the success
mm,
of the client that one of these reps have generated. It reminds me of a story of I was hearing about UPS where it was a during the holidays, and somebody put in an order for a package to be delivered, and at the store, the rep said, "Sir, there's no way we can get this there on time." But they said, "Well, I have to get it to my child. They're in another state. It won't get there by Christmas. Is there anything that you can do?" And the manager said, "You know what? Let me see what I can do." And
mm,
honestly, there was no way that this package can get there on time. But one of their core philosophies as the company was always serve the customer.
mm.
That manager drove the package himself to deliver it,
Brilliant.
right?
Brilliant.
And that is what we're talking about,
Yeah.
company culture, where, he didn't do it to get featured in the news. He didn't do it for the customer to praise him. He did that because he believed in the culture and the mindset of the company. Now, that is why that guy is a manager versus the guy at the front of the store. But what you need to do is you need to be able to inspire the front office
Mm,
guys, the people that are the clerk, with stories of that inspire them to eventually believe enough in the company that they
mm,
are, not some multinational company that doesn't think about the employees or their customers. That is where it all starts. It
mm.
starts from the onboarding, the training, and providing these stories consistently so that way they start believing in the company so they can start fulfilling these mission statements that are real instead of just being something on the wall.
Mm, absolutely. And everybody, I mean, I used to run hotels. I was a hotel manager, and part of my kind of first induction was somebody who arrived here. I used to say, I can't open this hotel if I haven't got a kitchen porter cleaning the dishes in the kitchen. I can't have a restaurant open. And the kitchen porter, you say, oh, he's only a KP. I can't have a restaurant without a KP. And making them feel that they're all part, like an old watch, when you open the watch and you've got all those little components that they all tick over together. And this is what a business should look like. I mean, everybody doing his own thing to make it work. And when something doesn't quite go right, the watch stop. And then it just, oh, we need to do something about it.
Absolutely. Okay, so we covered to analyze, right? You need to analyze, take a look at the KPIs. What do you want them to do? How do
Mhm.
you want them to do? Then we take a look at the second one. Correct me, was management, right? Actually
Developing your strategies. Yeah.
developing your strategy, putting together a plan, making
Mhm.
sure that this is going to be the corrective action, and then the third one is
Is the implementation and the training kind of thing. So you're implementing and training everybody to make sure that they know what they're doing.
okay, you implement, you train, and then you said there was a fourth one, correct?
Mystery shopping. Now it's time to measure.
Now
Now
time
it's
to
time
measure,
to measure. That's right.
right? Because we all know, if you don't measure something, it's not gonna be implemented, right?
Well,
So
you can't manage, can you? If you don't know where you are. If you don't, you can't really manage. You don't know, am I here or am I there? Or, are we doing right or are we doing, and I think you said something very right. When we start a program, mystery shopping, we mystery shop to celebrate success. And then we identify the gaps. But
Yeah.
the success is always the first thing, because you want to tell, when the results come in, you want to have the results and say, wow, we've done so well to this, and this was just amazing, because it just boosts everybody up, doesn't it? You want to put a program in place where maybe, your employees get, I don't know, a cupcake or muffin, or, I had a client, they were giving £100 for each employees who were getting 100%. So it's a big program, right? If all their employees were getting 100%, it could, amount to quite a lot of money. But that was part of what they wanted to say thank you for the amazing work that they're doing, and being part of having the mystery shop as part of their appraisal. What do they do right? What do they keep coming back where there's issues? So really the mystery shop is part of what is going on within the organization and how the employees performing. You are able to do a lot more on the employees' engagement, on their recognition, and those kind of things. Employee of the month, whatever you decide to do, but it's really enabling you to do and get everybody together to really measure where you are.
Absolutely. And that's also where I think, being a sales rep before and growing eventually into marketing and management and consulting is so critical, because what you want to do is you want to provide a level of consistency, right? Oftentimes we get a big, hey guys, new company initiative, here's a new commission structure. And then a couple weeks later, they change the commission structure, right? Or, hey, everybody, you need to be focusing on answering the phone a certain way, and $25 to the person who does it the best. Like, they put these commission structures or these comp plans or these bonuses in such of a way it's almost impossible to reach it.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So this is just
So
not.
it's not a program, right?
No,
And right away, what do you think? You think, here it is again, the company
that's it.
trying to figure out some way to make me work harder without
Yeah.
paying me more,
Yeah.
right? When you come up with these programs, you got to think about not how much it's costing you, but how much it's costing you,
Yes.
right? Not
Yes.
that, oh, I have to pay $5, $10, $20, but how much is it costing you in lost revenue? How much is it costing you in reputation? How much
Yeah.
is it costing you if one of these people go and post something negative on your business, and now when somebody searches about you online, that's all they see,
And it's all over. Yeah.
right? So what I suggest all the clients that I work with is come up with a realistic plan, right? First, you have to understand, what is your cost per lead, right? How many leads does it take to get to an app? How many apps does it cost to get to a deal? How many deals does it equate to dollar value? How many drop out? So once you actually understand, okay, this client's worth $1,000, right? Profit after I pay out my client, my reps, once I pay out operations, how much I got actually left, right? That's where you can start figuring out, okay, can I give them a $5? Can I give them $100, right? Because that money has to come from somewhere. So once you figure out that key point of how much you can compensate them additional, you have to have a consistent plan in that effort. So what we like to do is we like to identify what's the biggest problem. So for one of my clients, the biggest problem was that their documents that they were requesting for appointments was taking 3 to 4 days sometimes to collect. So we implemented a new strategy that said, anytime you get documents within 1 hour of the phone call ending, you get an extra $5. We saw close to a 40% increase in documents collected the same day, right?
Wow.
For $5. Now, if as a manager you start questioning, okay, well, what about if I'm on a call with another client when those docs come in? What about if I finish the call and I am pulled into a meeting, right? Is it within within the 1 hour? So what you start seeing is, now that we got a nice increase, management will say, well, let's change the rules a little bit, right? Let's tweak it so that way it's harder to get that money,
Mhm.
right? But as an owner, you got to realize that 40% bump that you had is not going to consistently stay there if you start changing these rules or if you start making caveats,
Mm.
right? So
That's it.
your goal is to work with your team to figure out a solid understanding of how they can qualify for this and
Mhm.
have it in writing and
Mm.
have everybody agree on it,
Mm.
right? It's not a top-down approach of, hey, you have to do this to qualify. It's more of like, hey guys, we're going to implement a new strategy this month. Everybody is their goal to get 100% on, their inbound calls from when we're taking a look at these certain factors. Do you think this is realistic?
Mm.
Do
Yeah.
you think this can happen? What do you think might come up that we're not seeing? So that's really where building a team and getting their buy-in is so important. You want to be able to talk to them in such of a way that you're getting their feedback and putting together plans and promotions that help you get your KPIs while at the same time supporting your staff.
Totally. Yeah, totally. You've got it spot on there.
So let me ask you, one thing I'm very interested about mystery shoppers is oftentimes companies they have people come in, and when I was doing it, we would always say, "Hey, do you think that was a mystery
Yeah.
shopper?" Right? They were asking me all types of technical questions, things that normal customers wouldn't know. Do you think it's wrong for managers to tell their employees that they will be mystery shopped?
Not at all. They have to. They have to. If anything, give them the questionnaire of the mystery shop. Be as transparent as you can. And this is again, the more you can tell them, it's not there to bash you on the head or you're going to get sacked if you're not going doing right. It really is an implementation to improve and the growth of the business. So the more transparent you are, same when the results come in, whether they're good or whether they're bad, you need to sit down with the employees. You need to put it on the walls in the canteen or wherever it is, so everybody can see the results. What happened there? Tell the story, look at it and say, how could we have done another way? Learn from every feedback. And I think that's another important part of, a lot of organization kind of, of course, you're worried about getting complaint. Don't take complaint as a complaint. A complaint is never a complaint. Most of the time, they are feedback. They only become a complaint when no one's cared about it and no one's done anything about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So your customers want to do business with you. They're giving you feedback. If you don't care, well, they're going to start complaining, right? So learn from every single visit and really make sure that, you are taking that as a whole part of, your whole strategy in customer experience. So, yes, mystery shopping is a brilliant tool to get some information there and then, but mystery shopping is a very objective way of doing things. So you would have your questionnaire and they'll follow kind of the questionnaire, right? So more so now, towards the end of the questionnaire, the shopper will be asked to say, would you recommend this shop or would you go back yourself? How did you feel about it? Which are very relational questions. Um, but if you're on the same time that you're doing your mystery shop, which gives you that objective view, which follows your standard and follow your journey, also do a customer satisfaction survey. Have this on your website, have a link to a little questionnaire, just 5 little questions. It's really good because then you're gaining a lot more data. You're gaining the data from your customers, and they may be a little bit biased because they're your customers, but they'll give you the data, and then you're getting here that objective point of view from the mystery shopper, which will help you with the journey and help you with developing new strategies. So you're looking at gaining more information from different places to put a bigger picture on how you can improve that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so critical. I think, quality assurance, mystery shopping, auditing is one of the most underrated things in marketing. We all talk about how to do better on Facebook ads, how to get better conversion rates, how to do automation. But what's happening once your lead is getting to your client,
Mm.
right? What's happening once they answer the phone, right? We don't really talk about that. It's not really as sexy as Facebook ads, to be honest, but it is
It's not.
it's probably one of the most important things of it, because
Absolutely.
when
And
people
sorry, we're always looking at gaining new customers in doing that. Whereas, if you just increase a 5% of your customer loyalty, you can increase your profit up to 50 to 75% with just 5% on your customer loyalty. So nurture your customers, really love them, go back to them, ask them the questions. What was right? What was not right? How can we change? You know, that costs less and they will spend more money because they know you, they trust you. And new customers takes more, and you'll probably know the figures in the top of your head. They'll cost more to get a new customers than what it is in the current one. Plus, they won't buy just as much because they don't know you just yet. So they may just buy a little something to get to know you. Whereas your loyal customers, they want to buy from you. They love you. So give them some love back.
Absolutely. I had a great time talking with you. I think this is such an important, part of business that really nobody's focusing on. That's why I was excited to bring you on the show. So tell us a little bit of how people that want to be able to implement a mystery shopping campaign or have somebody like you look out for them, as the owner of a company, and really, get into the operations, get into the business, and really see what's underneath the rug. How can they get in touch with you? What's the easiest way for them to learn more about your programs and services?
Sure. So my website is claireboscott.com. And also, if you Google Busy Queen Bee, you'll find another website which is all about the mystery shopping, and it's all about the programs that we put. That was my very first company when I started, Busy Queen Bee, and that's why I always talk about the bees and the queen and all that kind of things. The beehive is such a fantastic analogy for business. So if you Google that, you'll find me, and I'm pretty much on all the social media. But yeah, if you need any questions, I'm happy to do like a discovery call with anybody as well, if you want to put the link there. And also, I'm giving a complimentary training. It's an online training. It's my first training that I've ever done online. So there's lots of love in there. And it's really 10 modules. It takes you through everything from the assessing that we talked about, some training stuff. Even I'll give you some mystery shopping templates in there. So you've got loads of things if you want to go and check out and download all the documents and do the modules, that you will really enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for people that are part of our VIP group, this was something that I was really excited when Claire told me that she's going to be including, because oftentimes, people include, a free ebook or some type of template, but she's actually going to be giving you a 10-part training. Honestly, like, she's going way and above for the people that are listening here to the end to get this special bonus. I highly suggest you reach out to her, download this course, start implementing it in your business, because once you actually start doing this, you're going to realize how little your reps are following the script. You're going to start realizing all of the areas of improvement. And when you're looking at the bottom line and you're saying, why are they not able to have a higher conversion rate? Why do we not have more appointments? Well, guess what? Claire's going to cover it in her course, because you're going to get those small nuances of insight that make big differences. And that's what really mystery shopping and quality assurance and being able to audit properly in an effective way and being able to put a plan together that's well received becomes so critical because this is really the foundation of how your employees interact with your clients and represent your brand. So
Mhm.
thank you so much for coming on the show. I love to
Thank
have you.
you.
I'm excited for the bonuses, and I think this was a great interview. Thanks so much for joining us all the way from the UK. Glad to have you on Conversion Icon. Once again, this is Allen Kotlyar. Join the VIP group, get these extra bonuses. We have a ton of other great interviews coming up. So look out for them on the podcast and in the group. And if you haven't joined yet, join us on Facebook. Once again, Allen Kotlyar with Conversion Icons. See you next time. Thanks so much.
Bye. Bye bye.